As the Toshino Credit Management and a whole lot else guild marched out of the rural provinces and into the lifeless embrace of the Great Desert, they stumbled upon something rather curious. "Those rocks are a bit messy," Nuke said.
"Those aren't rocks, it's a mixture of saliva and dung," Isaiah told him. "Unless I am very much mistaken, that is a hive."
Everyone looked to Gustafsson. "I suppose you'd call it a hive," he said, apparently making a concession of some kind. "Well, let's hive a look, shall we?" Nuke decided. Bobby and Claw dragged Els through his fit of uncontrollable laughter. They entered a ring of large teardrop hives, which spilled forth dozens of dull-eyed hivers. "Prince Teshino, you're not going to rob them, are you?" Izumi asked. "Well, I was thinking of it, but there's so many of them, and they're living in their own shit. Yeah, I don't know about this place." "Perhaps we should just purchase a souvenir," Wadston suggested. They hit the shopping hive, and found it to be surprisingly full of tech, new and ancient. Hivers had a knack for that kind of thing, carrying on traditions they learnt from the humans thousands of years ago. Not that Nuke was especially interested in that, because hives sold hashish over the counter without second thought. That was the prince settled for a bit, and the hive cleared of any unannounced product recall warrants. Not everyone was having such a nice visit though. Gustafsson had been surrounded by the local drones, who sniffed at him for a while before all at once shouting, "Hiveless one!" and becoming very agitated. "Foolish drones, you are not permitted to touch me!" Gustafsson complained, but no one heard anything of it. He was pushed outside, and even there was set upon from all directions by glares that were probably rather hostile. Humans couldn't tell hiver expressions apart, so it was hard for the gang to really know what this was all about. "Did you rob them, you cheeky bugger?" Nuke asked. "No. Drones do not understand what it means to be a true prince. They think I am a traitor." "Traitor? You're just less of a loser, come on." "You are correct, Prince Teshino. Drones are unable to think clearly. They associate with nothing, hence nothing is what they know best." "Boom. You got them, Bad Green. Don't worry, we gotta go anyway. Is everyone out of the shop yet?" Looking around, they were missing just Red Rick. Rick had been completely swarmed by the hivers, who fussed over his parts obsessively, cleaning away dirt and buffing out scratches.
"You might think this is like getting a massage or something,"
Rick said when Nuke found him.
"But in reality, it doesn't feel like anything. Unless I want it to feel like something. And man, let me tell you, I got this shit feeling real good."
"I can't believe I just looked you in the eyes while you said that," Nuke muttered. At least our prince had finally discovered a potential source of hashish for the Emperor, although it was not nearly enough for what Nuke had in mind. Indeed, he'd bought out their whole supply, and barely had any left by the time they got settled in back home in Heft. It was decided, by a very democratic process of demanding it of Nuke while he was on the verge of consciousness and forcing him to nod, that they would all take a few days off in the city before the next inspection tour. This gave time for the crew to mend their wounds, to practice the secret robot spider crab castration technique, and relax in the sunshine with a good book, of which Izumi had created quite the collection. One afternoon she was lazing on the roof reading some old magazine, watching Rick do push-ups out of the corner of her eye. Why was a skeleton doing push-ups? Everyone but Izumi asked the same question. Nuke stomped up the stairs and sat beside her. "You know Gustafsson's got a friend over." "What, you?" "Nah, another bug man, Ignacio." "Ignacio? Like, you heard of Harry Potter?" "No." "I thought you'd read the classics." "Well, it was Wadston who read it, if you want to get technical, but it counts as me reading it. Same as the money he makes counts as me making it." "Impeccable thinking. Well, whatever. How about this one? You ever heard of chocolate?" "Chocolate? Yeah, I think I read that one. Very thoughtful. I like the part where the guy joined tendrils with the weird alien thing." "Chocolate, my prince, is a food." Yes, an interesting reading of the text." "Chocolate is an ancient drug, my prince." "Old school. What colour is it?" "Brown." "Brown town. Pass." "Hang on. According to this, people used to be obsessed with it back in the First Empire. It was kinda addictive. And I kinda have the recipe for it here. If you want to get addicted to something, you just had to ask. But this, Prince, is legal. We could make this chocolate and use it on the Emperor. That way, we aren't sticking our necks out for the samurai with your little plan. And I want to try it.
Well, future girl, I admire interest in the world of narcotics.
Kinda pretentious to go right for some out-of-style hit, but you're new to the scene, so I forgive you. Just think about it, Prince.
Sure. Could edge the hivers out of the market if it works. Yeah, I mean, we'll try it. We'll try it sometime. By the way,
why the fuck is Rick doing push-ups?
10,473. 10,000... Oh, damn it, I lost count. I'll just have to start again from the number I always start at. -1 million, baby.
He literally never gets tired, Izumi told Nuke with wide eyes. Nuke decided to leave. Finally, the time came for the guild to assemble for an expedition to the Empire's southern reaches. Ignacio had become Gustafsson's royal bodyguard and joined their ranks with a crossbow strapped across his scrawny back. Now there are nobles to the south somewhere. They came to the palace a few times. That means there's civilization, and that means there is demand for hashish, and that means over that horizon a whole world of drugs is just waiting to be explored. Let's go. With this inspirational speech, a long haul began, walking down the east coast, through the white-sanded Heng Highlands, and out towards the beautiful salt gullies of Gut, the blue-sanded jewel that they had previously seen in the distance from the peak at Howler's Maze. The beauty of the place was matched only by its desolation and deadliness. The company looked out from the banks beside a walled farm and saw packs of monsters stomping about below. Now I'm certain that's not a crab, Nuke said. It's more like a... thing.
Quite right, Prince Tashino, Isaiah said. That is a beak thing.
A weak thing? Wadston asked.
Beak thing. It's like a huge spike on the end of a long lever. Despite their size, they run twice as fast as humans. Good thing too, for humans are their favorite treat. I suppose they'll dabble in Shek and hivers when times are tough. Must have great fun picking off the runaways from that slave camp up there. Ah, to run free with the beak things. Not such a bad way to go. Anyway, I don't think they'll stomach steel too well, so Rickard should be fine. Hey, Rickard?
Everyone had decided to run swiftly away from these beak things. This proved to be a fine decision, and the entire crew continued to not be eaten alive forthwith. With some idea now of why the flats were called Gut, they bypassed them and continued on south through the desert. The weather was worsening, and a fine sandstorm gathering ahead. There was something else out there too. That's the eye ahead, Izumi said. Would that happen to be an ancient hashish production facility? Nuke asked. Almost certainly, my prince. It could provide shelter from this storm. Let's hurry, Wadston suggested. They did so, arriving in the shadow of a gargantuan metal ring adorned with all manner of legs, bulges and protrusions. So, future girl, gonna tell us what this is? Well, I don't know that much. It's an ancient weapon. Dead now, obviously. It's been here for ages, I guess.
2,000 years dead, and good riddance to the thing. Gotta get the other one someday too,
Rick said. Wait, Rick, you remember when this was still active? What did it do?
Forget I said anything. All skeletons have forgotten that time, don't you know that?
You haven't forgotten, have you?
I've forgotten everything, alright? Who even are you? Where's my money bucket? It's giving me empty vibes wherever it is.
As the crew rested and Rick continued to evade Izumi's questions, Nuke muttered to Wadston. Damn it, my man, now she's got another obsession with the Skelly boy. Indeed, his head is full of old secrets, I imagine. The advantage of age is his. We need to take a look at his memory chip. Charlie! Nuke waved Els over. You want to steal Rick's brain for me?
What if he gives me the stick?
Els replied. I'm more worried about him giving someone else the stick, Nuke said. They decided not to steal Rick's brain in the end, but Nuke tried as best he could to find the screws on the back of the skeleton's head, just in case. In the evening, the sandstorm cleared and they carried on eastwards, seeing First Empire ruins dotted around the desert. One of them had a large, dish-shaped thing on top, pointing up at the sky. When they got close, Rick started complaining that it was giving him a headache. It was perfectly reasonable to presume this was the beginning of some new grift, so he was ignored. Then, a searing tower of yellow light pierced the heavens, shooting down like the wrath of a scorned god. It tore up a nearby hillside as it strafed across it, melting sand and turning mud to char.
Jeez, Okran! I'll pray harder or something, come on, man,
Nuke said.
That's the other one,
Rick said.
Another eye.
Yep, there were always two.
And the other one shot giant fire beams too.
Yep, it sucked. It's called a laser. Not that I know anything about it.
Rick, will you tell us the probability that we will get hit by one of these lasers? Wadston asked.
Well, that's hard to say. I mean, it don't fire during the night since it needs sunlight to work. People used to sneak by it in the dark. Haven't tried it myself. I was on the other side of the fence, you know. Wait, probably better that you don't know, you know?
Rick's price to explain his ramblings was far too high, but he seemed to be right about the night tip. It was already late, and this eye in the sky fell quiet. And now that it was safe to walk the roads in the area, the insects came out of the woodwork.
Is that? Shit, more ninjas!
Nuke called as a gang of black-coated figures appeared from the darkness.
They're not ninjas, they're pirates,
Izumi said.
Oh, you know that for sure, do you?
Yes, trust me. They'll still kill us though. Disgusting fat thing. Time to do whatever you want to these people in the dark, alright?
Els grinned and dashed out with his huge cleaver raised overhead.
Stay behind me, master,
Sandor said to Nuke.
Shit. Pirates versus ninjas, is it?
Let's make some history, Nuke commented. It turns out that ninjas are better than pirates. Although that said, Nuke's crew were the ones going around stealing things, and the attackers were black-clad stalkers of the night, so perhaps this wasn't the best sample. The pirates tried to cut the straps of Gary's pack to get a quick score, but the brave Garu thrashed about and beat the attackers away. Still, the sword slashes that landed took their toll, and by the time the melee was over with, poor Gary couldn't stand. Wadston splintered his leg, and they were just about ready to limp somewhere more comfortable for the night when another band of pirates appeared. Pirate pirates, there to steal the score from the first bunch.
Shit, I can't run on this leg,
Izumi said, clutching a freshly bandaged cut she'd picked up. I got you, Nuke said, suddenly scooping her up over his shoulder. He held onto her with one arm and with the other brandished his katana to battle back against the fresh pirates.
Nuke, you piece of shit! I'm not being your shield, you fucking shitlord!
Izumi screamed.
Okran's ghost, I'm stopping you getting pirated, milady. Keep still.
Also, I'm showing off, so try to look cool.
I'd rather get pirated than have your bloody arm around me.
You sundari.
What?
Haven't read the classics, have you?
What the fuck are you... Nuke!
Nuke was handily cutting down opponent after opponent, and as showing off goes, it was actually surprisingly good stuff. The others were faring okay also, and the pirates soon had enough. The hivers were both alive but unwilling to move, and so they were loaded up on the Shek for transit to a nearby United Cities market town, Eye Socket. There, the crew grabbed a few hours' rest to conclude the night.
Eye Socket. Exactly the sort of place you never want to see,
Izumi mumbled as she fell asleep. Luckily for her, she was somewhere entirely different when she woke up.
Beautiful, in its own way,
Rick was saying.
What? Really?
Izumi spluttered, jumping out of bed, only to see Rick was looking out over a large valley, in which a giant laser was merrily dancing about.
Ah, the madame awakes. Got you some better accommodation since you were complaining and all,
Rick said.
Well, thank you, Rick. And morning, Prince Tachino.
Nuke was standing right beside her bed, holding out a slab of charred skimmer meat.
Thanks, Prince. Wait, bloody... We're in Brink.
Izumi exclaimed, rushing about to look in all directions from the rooftop she found herself on. Yep, Nuke said. Thought maybe the guys here on the edge of the Empire would have the stuff, but really it's just samurai and misery, you know.
Of course I know. I spent half my life trying to get out of this place.
You've been here before?
This is where I'm from, idiot.
Idiot? How was I supposed to know that?
You were supposed to ask. You know, at some point during all that blathering about Naruto.
That was a private conversation between me and Sandor, actually. Whatever. You're from Brink, then?
Yes.
And is there any green here?
No.
Huh. Probably could have saved some time if I asked you that before we left.
Yeah, well done. I'm going back to bed.
Madame, at least you are now among the first to know that the laser beams out there are from the sister weapon to the eye. Don't know how many biologicals know that little secret, but it ain't many.
You're right, Rick. Thanks. You know, that does make me feel better. Thanks, Rick. Oh, but I'm guessing there are more things you want to tell me, right?
Sorry, sister. First one's free, but I can't go giving out secrets to anyone. Or anyone at all. It's supposed to be a secret. Damn it, you know what? Y'all owe me 10 stacks for this, and no one can know.
Agreeing to secrecy calmed the strangely distraught skeleton down. Following this, the crew took a day of leave exploring the tiny, ugly, impoverished frontier town of Brink. Took far less than a day to realize that Izumi had been right to migrate from that dump. In fact, they were so dissatisfied with the accommodation that they checked out around midnight to leave, which had the added bonus of avoiding the daytime laser shows, of course. Where were they going? Well, that was a matter of contention. Since Brink was the literal brink of the United Cities Empire, they were supposed to just go home. But pushing things beyond the brink was Nuke's speciality.
My prince, I'm sure there is little out there of any use to us,
Watchton argued.
I'm tempted to agree, Prince Tashino,
Isaiah added.
In the Shek Kingdom we call the places down there the Old Lands. Long since devoid of civilization, I'm afraid. Industrial supplies of quality drugs are hard to come by.
There can't be nothing out there. Look at that mountain and all this blurry mess on the map. Kinda like something is hiding out there, right? Nuke said.
Well, when you put it that way, it's another matter entirely,
Isaiah said, leaving the huddle around the map and hoisting his bag onto his shoulder.
Prince, I'm pretty sure there really is nothing out there. It's bandits and monsters, and all they try to do is come back up here. Not much point going the other way, Izumi said.
Can I suggest something?
Rick said.
You know, heading out to that mountain ain't such a bad idea.
Mr. Rick, can you elaborate?
Watchton asked.
Nope. Just saying. I'm all for it. There's something special there. Your bug man might like the place. A real old sovereign. Kinda like there's an atmosphere out there, you know.
I don't know, and it sounds like you've gone off the rails, coin slot. But in many ways, that means we absolutely have to go, Nuke said. Soon, resistance seemed futile, and the party moved out into the desert night, heading south into the lands that had once been part of the Second Empire, but were far from being part of the Third. Rick seemed impatient to get there, but wasn't letting anything slip about it. Was what Nuke was looking for out there? Well, yes and no. The contacts he needed for his plans in the capital certainly weren't, but he did find something that brought him fulfillment beyond his wildest dreams. And this is nothing to do with his Sundara historian, I assure you of that.